What is going on, everybody? It is Craig, and we're getting to 90. Movie number 90 for 2024. At least horror movie I haven't seen before. I don't count stuff I revisit. I don't put them on this list. So it is Horror High, not that one, from 2020. Also called Tardy Terror. I probably could guess why they went with Horror High instead, given, but if you saw my review on Saturday, you heard me say 3 movies I saw on Friday, do a review for each one. This is that last one. But you also heard me say I was glad I watched them all. True. But this one is probably the weakest of the 3 from that group, but it still is an interesting film. And I'll also give it credit because it is one of those TV 14 type deals, so you really don't have any significant gore. You got a cool looking creature. That was a costume, not practical effects, which was neat. But the premise of this movie is there is a principal who one day he snaps, all the kids are walking around just looking at their cell phones, they're not getting to class on time. So he somehow tries to create something, some magnetic ray, what they don't really explain what it is. I'll tell you what it does ultimately, or did ultimately. But he set it off and then he vanished. You could argue maybe he transformed into the creature. Who knows? They didn't really specify that one way or the other. But if from that point on, any student who was late, hence tardy, to class was locked in the hall, the doors would close, they would trap, and then they would vanish, presumably killed. I say presumably because you'll see if you watch it, and I guess I could spoil it a little bit. I mean, considering it is a TV 14 type movie, or even like no one actually died in the movie. All the kids, almost like in, in the underneath, or I don't want to say upside down, that's Stranger Things, but in the Ran, where Pennywise had the kids floating and looking, they're kind of trapped like that. But people didn't realize that because they were in a secret basement, I guess. But one new kid, he moves to town, he gets informed about everything about it, and he's like, that's not true. And then he quickly realizes it is. His parents are hypnotized too. Like, the teachers are sort of hypnotized, and they could come out of it when there's like a lightning storm briefly, so you see there's under some sort of magnetic spell. So it's a really elaborate thing the principal set up to do. It didn't really explain how any of it was done, nor could they, since, it's very science fiction-y. This movie had a lot of a combination of the faculty and disturbing behavior in premise. The faculty combination because, the teachers were not right, and disturbing behavior because the programming that was happening with some of the people too. Again, it's not that the Faculty is a great movie in my opinion. Disturbing Behavior is a really good movie, but since that's where one of my favorite songs, Flagpole Sitter, comes from, I love it. But this movie is still a fun watch. It's still a decent watch if you want to give it a go. Ultimately the kids try to figure out what to do, how to save everybody. Even though they think some of their own are killed. The one thing in this movie though is there's this clique that's led by this one girl, and like she makes, Regina? Is that the girl's name from Mean Girls? Like look like a saint, and they even tried like hacking the whole Tardy thing, and like they would beat down somebody, and then they wouldn't be able to get to class, and then they'd be thought they were killing them in essence. Now, admittedly, one of the good guys did the same thing to one of theirs, but then they doubled it up and took out, that guy's girlfriend at the time, yada yada. Like I said, it's fun movie, but the thing that, like I said, it really is only going to get a 5 out of 10 for me, which is the limit as far as, okay, I don't regret watching it, but maybe with the exception of the one girl whose sister was missing for a bit. You don't really care about any of the characters. The thing that made Deer Camp 86, in my opinion, so good, even though it was slow at times, was the characters. Like, you cared. You were vested in all of them. Now, again, at the end, you might find out stuff that took you off of some of them, but, like, it was well done. And the first person who was killed in that movie, I didn't even reference this in the review. Again, when you watch a bunch at once, it's hard to remember everything. But the first person they showed killed, you legitimately cared about. Like, it's like, oh, man, this chick is cool. Like, don't want her to die. And of course, she's the thing that set everything off. But yeah, 5 out of 10, and this is movie number 90. Now, this is on Monday. Hopefully Tuesday or Wednesday, you will finally see me doing a review of Trap. And I know some of you might have seen Trap and be like, it's not great. You're in trouble. I've heard that. I'm a really big fan of Josh Hartnett, though. That helps me. 30 Days of Night is one of my favorite vampire movies, easily my top 5 vampire movie. And Faculty was awesome in. And a movie called Lucky Number 11 has a lot of things to do in Denver when you're dead, Pulp Fiction type vibes. Maybe not as good as Pulp Fiction, but probably better than Things to Do in Denver when you're dead, with Gabrielle Anwar and... Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's not a horror movie. So, but that said, folks, Andy Garcia, I think. But that said, folks, have a great one. Till next time. And yeah, hopefully we can keep the positivity going, because before today there were a bunch of 3s. So we'll see what happens. Peace.